Yo, how's it going, guys? We are going to do some weapon tier list, what I can recommend and what you should think of when you're choosing weapon and what you should be unlocking in the future inside Shatterline game. So I just been unlocking all the way to tier 5. I've been unlocked every auto rifle, not all attachment to every weapon, but I can see at least where they're going, what their base is, and I can see if basically how much it impacts depends on what attachments and other stuff actually inflicting to how you're using the weapon, the flinch, the range, damage over range, and how much it takes to actually kill. So before we're doing this test, we basically have to put it out there. The shooting range is basically in the perfect condition. So if you compare that towards a real game where you have ping, latency, and everything else, that's not 100% fair, because it will diff a bit or it can actually diff a lot. But this is what we can see in the shooting range, what I actually wish we could see inside the full game. So we're actually going to start here. So we have 5 weapons and 5 tiers. It's total 25 weapons. And every weapon has some sort of customization up to basically 11 attachments. Then you have skins, you have counters, you have modifications, but I'm not going to go for them right now because those are not the most important thing that we actually has to talk about. So I will start to go to shooting range. We're going to go through all the ARs. We're going to go through some of the pistols. We already know that this Lupara Compata is basically extremely potent in PvP and PvE because it basically 1 to 2 shot people inside that thing, but they need to be in a certain range to basically do the damage. And because it has so much spread, it's, yeah, everyone knows how shotgun works. But we have the G5, we have the U22. This one I actually been playing around with, so I actually know how this one works, and I've talked to other people that basically are using this weapon, the G7, and we have the U44. I don't have that one either, but I have been using it inside the sandbox, so I can actually give some feedback. The shotguns is like, I don't really need to talk about. They're pretty much what they're supposed to do. They're dominating in pretty much in the close range for you. The SMGs I have unlocked to 1, 2, 3, and yeah, 1, 2, 3. I have tried both. What do you call it? The A1. I've tried, and I haven't tried the P90 Tornado, but I have a friend that also has already unlocked it. He has already maxed it out and used it, and I can give like his input, what he basically was saying about it. And we basically have the snipers. I don't have the Dragonfly. I've been using it in the PvE sandbox, and I can actually speak from what I've been using it there to what it can do in PvP as well. Because there's some stuff on it that will inflict in the PvP that is basically, will change a lot of things. I don't have the the SEG 8. I have tried it, I have used it in PvE, and I've seen people unlock it as well. I've seen real gameplay footage of it when people are using it, and it's basically an TWD, but with a little bit more higher damage, it says. But I think some of these stats here are lying. They're not 100% correct, because if it was so, it basically would be not as what it does right now. You will see when I'm using the T, when we come into the sniper. So we're going to go to the shooting range. We're going to take off every attachment. Then we can talk about what attachment that should be potent or not. Because there are attachments that are for PvP, and there are attachments that are definitely for PvE. So we can actually start with the Pacifier, the XM27 or the M27, as it actually is. So we're not going to use any modded weapons basically. So if we have a like a crafted version of it, we're not going to use it. So I need to go in here and check. This is totally stripped. This one doesn't really do anything. This one doesn't have, oh, this one has, but we can take off the attachments pretty much here. That one, that one, and that one. So we're stripping everything down to as much we can, because the base is always a good way to basically see how much will it affect in the long run. I don't think we have that one. We can actually take away stuff for. We don't have that. We don't have that. We have tried those. So we actually know. We don't gonna test the shotguns. The SMGs we can strip inside because I don't think we have. Okay, this one we actually can strip. The snipers we can strip, but I don't think I have a sniper skin anyways. Yep, so let's go to shooting range. Doesn't matter what character we are because we're not going to use any ability at all. And we're not going to start with that weapon. So for you guys that don't know, you can go in and change your weapon directly on the fly while you're actually playing. So we're going to start with AR. So the first AR we are going to look up is the tier 1 AR. That's pretty much one of the most popular ones beside the Zenith, the AK. So XM27, we have it totally stripped. So this is one of the fastest, shootest ARs that actually are out there right now. And we can actually test the spray on it. Let's see here if we can get some more ammo, because otherwise we're going to be running like a board. And we're not going to try to do this for long with everything. So for example, we're just going to start to see the recoil if I'm not pushing it basically, or working against the recoil. So this is the recoil for the Pacifier, the XM27. As you see, it goes straight up in a line, then it basically goes directly to the right. Let's try it again and see if it actually has the same. Almost the same. It basically stops at the same place where it actually was when I actually did the first time. So now we are going to go and try to do the hip fire test. Is this potent for hip fire in pretty much what is it? What can it be? If I go here, I can actually see here. This is about 7 meters. So around here is 7 meters. So it's pretty. It is centered, but some of the bullets will basically go outside. And with this time to kill we have in a ping, when counting ping as well, you will basically die because it's not centered enough to basically get the kill quicker. So how much do you need to work to have it centered if we go for headshot with this without scope or anything, to see basically how much can it actually, the recoil, take before you actually are losing the way of the weapon. So it's a fairly easy to use. In 7 from, we can see here if you spray from 7 meters, it was fairly easy. Then we can go to 24 meters. It's fairly easy to use. Then we can go to 43 meters. Fairly easy to use there as well. I think 43 meters is the most like efficient, not efficient one, but the max you basically should be able to do on AR. I'm gonna go to 51 as well. It's fairly easy with a stable weapon. So this one you don't really need any attachment for getting stability. So it is a pretty decent weapon. But what is the most optimal range to get a quick headshot kill? So 24 meters then.
One down.
It's pretty fairly easy. So we go to 39 meters. 30 meters. So 30 meters, I will definitely say this weapon is the most quickest to get headshots. And now when we're actually there, we can actually check what kind of attachments we have on this. So we got the grab 505, aiming speed, and weapon selection. I don't really understand what they're meaning with that. So basically it is if you swap weapon, I think it should be 20% increased weapon swapping, not selection. This scope is 1.6 zoom. It's fairly decent. I've been using this a lot. I see a lot of people using it. Increase effective the effective range. That means like you will do better, you will have better range to do damage. Improve weapon stability. You don't really need stability for this weapon. It is already as good as it can be. This one is almost a must when it comes to AR compared to the SMGs, because the SMGs already have a very good speed of reloading speed anyway. So 20% increased reload speed is almost a must. Then you have increased movement speed on ADS, continuously shooting. This one is really good. It's also a PvP one. Now we are coming to a PvE one. Special barrel rotifit. Refills 15 rounds in the magazine after every second kill. It's like 15 rounds, so for PvE that is very good to keep on shooting. It's like a must almost in PvE for this weapon, if you like this weapon. This one is recall. It's not even needed. You don't need any grip at this weapon at all. Reduce minimum hip spread, lower spread gain. We can try this out right now, so you can see how much you guys remember how much it was before. So we can actually do like this. There, take it off. So we're getting a pretty much the same as we had before. Putting on the laser sight. We go here, about the same range. You can see the difference. You can't see it right now. Yeah, you can see here. So you basically see it's more centered. It's not a lot more, but it's a little bit more, and it actually helps. If you want to hip fire this weapon for PvP, as you should, because it's so fast paced. When you're up close, this one is the best one for that as well. Then we have this scope, 1.2 magnifier, 10% increased movement speed on ADS. This one is a really good one if you want to use an extra scope. It basically gives you a better, and it is pretty big as well if I'm not mistaken, so it doesn't really take up as much viewing point for you, because that's always an issue as well. So this one, you're getting a pretty fair view in the middle of your screen to basically be able to see it. It doesn't flinch or jump as much as many other scopes will do. And then we have the drum mag. Magazine capacity is 50. That's insanely good. I would not be using that in PvP though, because that's too much, and you always start to reloading anyway, so it's just a waste of spot. Reduce reload speed and slow aiming downside. That slows you down basically in PvP. Then you have 1.3, faster sprint to fire, transition, increase effective range. That one is not a go-to. Then you have this, it deals extra damage to crystalline creatures. So this one is really good against the bosses. You can switch your slots, what you have in the slots while you're gaming at the PvE. So you can basically, if you get this weapon in extraction, you can expedition, you can basically just switch out to this when you get into the boss, and you will do a lot more damage if you like this weapon. So that was the Pacifier. A decent weapon. I will definitely put that in one of the top weapons in the game for now. The AK is a different story. Many people are thinking the AK is broken. Yes, it is sort of broken, but also yes and no. It has, if I go here, as I said, we have a perfect condition, we have everything, like we have no lag, nothing in here, because now we're playing on my own server here on my PC, and we do 2 tap to the headshot. And I think we can go all the way to 30 meters with that. And we go to 35. No. There we get to 3. If you see, it's not a fast shooting weapon, it's a heavy fire weapon. It should almost be a heavy machine gun and not an auto rifle. If it was a heavy machine gun, I would definitely buy the 2 tap to the head, but as it is right now, it's basically extremely potent. It's almost like an SMG destroyer up close if you get the headshots. In body shots, it's 3, 4. So how long does that go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. There we go. 1, 2, 3. So So it's basically almost it is up for up to 50 meters. But with that recoil, if you basically check the recoil, it's basically extremely hard to hit the 40 meter. As you see, because you will see the spread right soon here. So you need to work with it. You need to definitely know the spread of the weapon to basically be able to control it. This one, if I'm not mistaken, will go straight up to the left. It will go up a little bit, then go straight to the left. So if we do like the control here. So you see, it goes straight up to the left. If we do it again. It basically has the same recoil over and over. And it's extremely the same. So if you go to the hip fire on this, it's going to be all over the place. As you see, it's basically all over the place. So this weapon is not potent to be able to hip fire. So if I work with the recoil and trying to get a little bit, drag it down to the right while we're hitting the head, it should be pretty much on point. As you see, it's a pretty centered hit when you're that close. But then you need also to consider you're always going to end up against SMG guys. They will beam you down with that. So not the perks, but the attachment. So you have the scope 1.3, faster sprint to fire transition, improvement movement stability, weapon stability. You definitely need stability for this weapon. You don't need anything with damage. You don't overrange or anything because this weapon is already as good as it is. You might need some tighter spread on the weapon while aiming down sight or hip fire. That's what I will definitely recommend. Then you have the muzzle brake, significantly decrease recoil for the first 3 shots from the magazine. This one is extremely good in the beginning because it's so early in the what do you call it? In the unlock for this weapon, so it's pretty darn good. This one I think is more for PvE though. Target under continuous fire are knocked back and become disorientated. I think this one is more a PvE one because it will kill people so fast in PvP. So this one is almost, I will not say unusable, but it's waste of like spot on the weapon. Then we have this one, 1.75 magnification, 15% effective range. I would say yes, and I will also say no, because you don't need the extra range on this weapon because it's still 3 taps up to 50 meters and 4 to the body. So if you just are good with the aiming and know the recoil on this weapon, you don't even need to have like that long. Only reason I can see it is if you have a hard time to actually aim down sight and see people up close. Then we have the RPK, AK RPK, magazine capacity of 40, 15% reload speed. This one is really good. And this one we need as well, recoil, reduced recoil. This one is so good, and 15% ADS speed boost, very important. This one we don't really need. This is just for fasting aiming, but because it's like I won't see this as an AR, I will see it as a heavy machine gun, not like an auto rifle. So I would not be taking this at all, because you will get so low zoom, like 1.2. I would rather stay with either way this to get the extra stability, because you always need to think what more does it give me more than the scope. And this one, reduce minimum hip spread, increase movement speed on ADS. This one is a must as well. Some attachments you can't have. You can't have like combined. You need to think about that as well, because some sort of attachment can't fit together, and I don't think many people actually think about that. They just want to mix and match, and when you actually notice that you can't, it's just a waste of spots to be putting out. Then we have this reduce recoil, reduce spread gain. This one is really good as well. So both of those attachments are really good, but you have to choose what you actually think is fitting you as best. Then you have weight rebalance, 20% reduce spread during continuous fire. This one is a monster thing, and 5% reduce spread gains during continuous fire. But the thing with this is that one doesn't fit with this, so you need to choose what you actually So in the next weapon I will go through for the AR is gonna be the XM40. That's the tier 4. No, sorry, we're gonna go with the pulse rifle. There we go, the AUG. So the AUG is a 3-round burst, hard-hitting, or should be a hard-hitting pulse rifle. I know people can argue with that, but here in the perfect condition, it one-shots to the body. But I can actually say by own experience, in the PvP, it does not. It doesn't matter how close they are, it will never hit one-tap people to the body. Except if you're getting... You see that? There it actually shows the true nature. So up to 30 meters this gun should be good, but because it shoots this slow, as you see, people think that's fast, but compared to other weapons in the game, you will get melted before the first burst is off. I don't need to show much about the recoil spread or anything about this, because this weapon is still not going to be, for me at least, one of the top weapons. It's basically, it might be, I will probably change my mind when I'm getting to this. When you're getting to 20% delay between bursts, that means like this one almost becomes an auto rifle. Because there is a mod that turns this to an auto rifle when you not ADS, when you actually hip fire, you can actually turn this to an auto rifle. So you have automatic fire from hip stance, 50% decrease hip fire accuracy. So you decrease, that means that you're getting worse. So you need to implement something else to take away that 50%. Then you need to build it up like an SMG up close. But I will say it bugs out. It's bugged. So basically when you hip fire, then go to ADS while you are hip firing, the weapons start jamming. Somehow it just starts jamming and you can't like shoot. Sometimes it even follow up and start becoming an auto rifle while you're like going from hip fire up to ADS. It's still continuously shooting the whole mag until you have to reload, then it's back to the normal. So it's bugging out now and then. So this weapon is very weird. It's very, very weird. I want to love it because I love pulse rifles, but I might change my mind when I've locked this one up. I'm like one level from it, so I will give my input on that. So we're gonna go to the XM40. That is one of my favorite ARs, definitely. People have their argues with it because they want more fire rate to it. And I think that's the only thing they actually want, because this is basically like the tier 1 pacifier, but it has the highest, longest range to kill. So basically this is the recoil on this. So you see, it doesn't go so straight up, but if it had more fire rate to it, it will basically be very terrible. And the hip fire, you can actually hip fire this pretty decent. As you see, it's a pretty decent center to basically be able to hip fire this. But often you will have lose with, they have 10 HP. To control this, it's fairly easy. The spread is pretty much what it's supposed to be. So this one is 3 to the head if I'm not mistaken. 1, 2, 3. Yep. And I think the max range on this is 30 meters, right? Hit now. Yeah, it's 4. Here's 30. Yeah, so the max range for this free tap to people is in 30 meters. The rest is 4 all the way up to 50. And the body shot is 1, 2, 3, 5. I think it's 5. And it works all the way up here. 1, 2, 2, 3, 5. So basically the optimal range is somewhere between 17 meters to 30 meters. So if I go to 23 here, it's a very fast time to kill. Insanely time to kill for this weapon. This weapon comes with very good stuff though. I heard people say that they want the pacifier stuff to be on this one instead, because that will actually help this one out. So this thing you don't really need any grip on at all, neither. So increased damage beyond the effective range is very good for PvP, because you're actually getting the same damage from like 1 to 30 a little bit longer. I wouldn't recommend the 3D pin silencer for PvP at least, because you actually lower the damage. It doesn't say it, but it actually does it. You can feel it when you actually play. RST Rage, 20% increased reload speed and aim speed after a kill with full health. That's more for the PvE stuff. And now to my favorite scope that is in this game. If you play Call of Duty, you're gonna love this. So 1.2 magnifier and 15% faster aim down sight. So this is my favorite scope in the whole game. This is like the regular Call of Duty red dot sight, and it's extremely nice. And you can the aim speed on it is pretty well. And this is also a PvE attachment. You can actually see what PvE is like, small screws and stuff like that. 20% improved weapon stability for 10 seconds after precision kill. It can work in PvP, but you will more likely notice it in PvE. 1.75 magnification, 10% increased effective range, and 5% improved weapon stability. This one is decent, but it's not needed. This one can be good in PvP as well. It's the laser, the laser, we call it red dot thing, laser sight. It's a 15% reduced minimal hip spread, and that's pretty good because it already has good one. And slower spread gain, that means like it basically spreads lower, more tighter in towards each other, so that's gonna be good. And it can actually be really good, or you can actually go with this footsteps noise while moving. This one is definitely a PvP one. Depends on if you're playing, for example, the newest search and destroy mode. I actually forgot, demolition I think it is. This one is a must. You will be totally silent for your team, and you will totally silent for your opponents. It is so good. It doesn't affect anything with recall, but it will basically give you the treat for being dead silent. Then you have 1.3 magnification, 10% faster sprint to fire transition, improved weapon stability. This one is okay, but you don't really need to fix with stability for this weapon. And there's more stability. There's so much stability for this weapon, and it's not even needed. It feels like they just smashed in a lot of stuff, and it's not even needed. This one though, magazine capacity 35, reduced reload speed, slower aiming down sight. This one, combined with the red dot sight that I have here, can be a very good combo, because you will basically nullify it like the regular speed. Is it 2.5? Ja, det kan de få. So now we go to my favorite weapon of the game. It's the tier 5 A9 Legatus. This weapon, you will look up at tier 5, it's the last AR you can get in the game. This weapon's, what do you call it, recoil pattern is pretty much straight up. Nothing too like weird. It's basically an SMG in an AR, almost. So the hip fire stand is not that good. You can fix it, but it's not that good. If you work against hip fire, it's basically better. And how strong is it to basically get the headshot with? It's a laser. I think it's free headshot all the way up to 50, if I'm not mistaken. If I go... You see there? 2 shots to head and 1 to the body, and it's dead. So this one has the longest range with the same damage. You don't need to put any more damage on this one. The only thing you might need is stability. The time to kill on this one is pretty much horrifying. And the ammo on this is I mean, if it had 5 more bullets in it, it should be really good. So this one I will actually rate in it like equal with the AK when it comes to the best guns in like ARs in the game. I haven't looked up everything for it, but I can say like this scope modified increased effective range is really good. I don't like how it looks. I don't like how much it actually takes up of your screen because it's basically a sniping scope. But I will say it is super good, as you see. It is very potent. Then we have this. Refile 10 rounds in the magazine upon a sliding kill. So if you play PvE and slide and kill something, you're basically getting 10 rounds back. That's like almost a half magazine, so it's pretty good. 3D printed carbon grip. This one I've been using as well. 10% increased hip fire accuracy for the first 4 rounds in the magazine. So the first 4 bullets will be pretty much straight in. It's very good. This one, increased damage beyond the effective range and increased, is what I'm going to be using. I'm not going to be using this. I'm going to be using definitely this. Then you have a PvE one. Score a double kill, increase weapon aiming speed for 30%, decrease hit spread by 50%, and decrease recoil by 30%. Then you have TA12. Magnification, fast aiming down sight, improve weapon stability. I mean, you don't really need much weapon stability. But this one, you increase precision damage. This one is naughty. 20% increased precision damage. So it's basically 2-tap like the AK. It will 2-tap in some ranges. It will 2-tap probably up to 30 meters and the rest is going to be free. So it's basically an AK but shoot faster and much more stability. Then you have this. Nothing special with that. This one, while sliding, I don't really see the point with that. This one is pretty good, and this one, reload speed, is pretty good. So that was the AR. So I will definitely say like the AR in tier is going to be the AK. It's going to be the Legatus A9 at number 1, and also the AK because they're pretty much the same weapon. But this one is AR, and the AK is, I will say, is more a heavy machine gun. The second place is going to be the Pacifier with the XM. What is it? I always forget the name of it. XM40. This one. And the last one will definitely be the burst rifle because it doesn't have a chance. It never has a chance if the last perk doesn't really make up for it. So if we go to, we don't need to do any shotguns, the snipers. So I don't really need to show so much with it more than shoot at the dummies and explain. And we will actually take one thing to consider. So here's the TVX. This is the same weapon as we have as in the SAG 8 that people have been complaining that not one shot. So this is, I will still say, this is in a perfect condition. I have 0 ping on the right corner. We're up in, what is it, 100 meters now? There is the dummy. If we go for a headshot on it, it's 1-shot kill. And that's also in PvP. If we get a pure headshot, it's going to be a kill. If we go to the body, still 1 hit kill.
Reloading, give me a sec.
If we go to the leg, still 1-shot kill. So then what's the problem? I think they haven't tuned the sandbox in PvP right, because I've seen people with both this, the TWD, and the SAG 8, and it has been horrifying. You can't even go to 60 meters and shoot people like that. They don't die. It is extremely bad. Extremely bad. So until they fix it, I will definitely recommend you guys not to pick up the SAG 8, the tier 5 one, and you won't be taking the TWD. Go for the Impala or the VX. I think it's the VX something. The VX7. The VX7 is the best of them. If you want to go high damage and just scale damage, then the Impala has the perks for you. I won't read through the perks here because it's gonna just take the video even longer. The Impala and the VX7 is the best snipers right now to go for. Then you have the other one that is called Dragonfly. What's different between the Dragonfly and the Impala VX and the SAG-8 is it's a burst sniper. It's extremely potent in the PvE. But why do you guys think, oh, this is probably really good in PvP then? No. Because the recoil, there's nothing that can prevent the recoil for it. So you basically shoot straight up in the sky with it. Because you're going to hit the leg, stomach, then the last shot in the head, and it's not going to be killing anyone. So you probably need 2 shots, 2 bursts to basically kill someone. And the reload on it is atrocious. So for the snipers, I will definitely say Impala and the VX7. Go for that too. That's like tier 1, 2. There is like nothing more you really need for PvP and PvE at the moment. Until the full game is out. Then we have, let's see here, now I'm confused here, the SMG. So I basically have the Attachent that is on almost like an Uzi. Then we have the M5 and we have the fire sprayer. Then we have the A1 and we have the, I always forget, the P90. I don't need to show them. I don't even need to talk about anything about the attachment for them. Because this game is, for PvP at least, is built around those SMGs. And I dare to say it because you can basically hip fire people easy. You don't need to aim down sight at all if they're pretty much mid-range. You can just hip fire. And then while you're hip firing, just go down to ADS. You will kill people. You don't need attachment on them. You don't need, the only thing you might need is like a grip on the MP5. The fire spray, you might need a grip, and you don't need any scope. You don't need any scope on the Attachent neither, and you don't definitely not need on the A5 neither. The A5 is basically the Scorpion from Call of Duty Black Ops. If you guys have playing that one spits bullets. As long as you basically have like your aim on, you will definitely know when you miss. The P90 is probably the best SMG of them all. It has a very good range, good fire rate, everything works predefined for it. So I will definitely recommend that one as well in the tier 5. But otherwise, I will definitely say you can go for all of them. Attachent, fire spray, and the Cinetech M5. You can go for any SMG because they will give you justice in PvP. They're almost a little bit too good. I will say like this, like they feels like ARs a bit more fire rate sometimes. Sometimes when you have very good connection and you feel like everything works, you can use them as ARs. When you don't, you just need to be extremely close up. The attachment for them are, yeah, nothing like special. So then we just have shotguns. We don't really need to talk about them. There are like 2 types of shotgun. There's like full auto shotgun, or what we call spam shotguns, and you have the pump shotguns. They're pretty much what they're saying. They're pretty good in the close range, not the mid or long. They're like destroyers. Then we have the pistols. We have the U22. We got the G5 Earl, and we have one called U44, and we have the other pistol. It's like G7 if I'm not mistaken. What's make those pistols different is the U22 and U44 is in the same family. The U22 is a revolver, a pistol revolver. You can 1-tap to 2-tap people with it, easy. 2-tap up close, and you can like 1-tap head up close and you're dead with the right attachment. And it's the same goes for the U44, but it has higher damage overall. It shoots slower, but it has higher damage. The G5 Earl is like a regular 9mm pistol. What's special with that one is you can actually turn that to a burst pistol. And when I mean a burst pistol is, you will get a modifier for it that is called modified trigger, yeah. Grants 3-shot burst shooting, 50% increased hip fire accuracy. So you basically, it's almost impossible to hip fire it, but it shoots so slow. So in PvP, people will pretty much melt you. But if you use it up close, you might get one like burst kill, because it's like free tap and people are dead with the pistol. The other one they call G7 shoots much faster than this. I don't think it has the modified trigger on it, but it basically are a faster shoot, more stability, no bullet spread basically at all on it. Very, very, very accurate. So after all this, we're gone through every single weapon, so we can actually do my tier list here. So for the auto rifles, I will definitely say tier 5 and the AK is pretty much in the up top, because when you're getting the right attachment for the Legatus, you basically have an AK with less recoil, like an AR. This, I don't see this as an AR, I basically see this as a heavy machine gun. In many games I also use the AK as a heavy machine gun, actually. Then we have those two here, the XM40 and the XM27 as auto rifles that are in the second place. Both of them are basically the same. They're pretty interesting and fun. The last one is this one. I can't say too much about the last perk. The pistol, I will definitely rate U44, and then at first place, this one at first place, I will definitely be saying U22 Svarog is extremely, extremely good. It's on second place. Then it's a little bit hard between those two because they are pretty much the same, but this one is more linear than that one. So I will definitely say the G7 Springer than shotguns. We're not going to be talking about SMGs. The best SMGs in the game is going to be the P90 Tornado and the A1 Centurion, the Scorpion. And after that, it's definitely going to be Fire Spray. That one, it's a monster. If we get an extended mag for that, it's a monster. But as I said, the SMGs are pretty much equal. Otherwise, they're like, they do what they do and they're supposed to do and nothing more. If you have a good connection, you can use them as an AR, basically just beam people across the map. The snipers, Impala and the VX7, the best snipers right now in the game until they fixed this one and this one. These two are pretty much the same, but with different reload and different mag size. This one is the last, the Dragonfly. It's pretty good at PvE if you like PvE, but not for PvP. So that was my general tier list. If you guys have any question, let me know. Otherwise, guys, let me know what you guys think. Do you have another list you're actually enjoying to bring to the game? Otherwise, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in game. Have a good trip.